In the second half of the 20th century, the world's oceans had a single, undisputed ruler: the United States Navy's Carrier Strike Group. It was not just a collection of ships, it was a floating, sovereign territory of American power. A single carrier could launch an air wing more powerful than the entire air forces of most nations. It could project military force thousands of miles inland, control vast swathes of the sea, and dictate the terms of any conflict. For the Soviet Union, locked in the global ideological struggle of the Cold War, this was an existential threat. The Soviet Navy, for all its size, was a continental navy. It was a force of submarines and coastal defenders, designed to protect the motherland's shores. In a blue-water, open-ocean engagement, it was catastrophically outmatched. It could not compete with the United States carrier for carrier. To even attempt to do so would have been ruinously expensive and technologically impossible. This created a profound strategic imbalance. The Soviet Union could dominate on land, but at sea, it was a second-rate power, a prisoner of geography, constantly under the shadow of the American carrier. This was not just a matter of prestige. It was a critical military vulnerability that threatened the very heart of Soviet war planning. In the event of a conflict in Europe, American carriers in the North Atlantic and the Mediterranean could decimate Soviet forces and strike deep into the Warsaw Pact. The Soviet submarine fleet, their most potent naval asset, would be hunted relentlessly by the carrier's anti-submarine warfare screen. The vast maritime supply lines that would be needed to reinforce a land war would be severed in days. The carrier was a dagger aimed at the Soviet Union's throat, and they had no effective shield. They could not build a bigger fleet. They could not outspend the West. The problem seemed insurmountable. The Soviet High Command was obsessed with a single overriding question: how do you kill an American aircraft carrier? The solution they devised was not to build a shield, but to forge a new, terrifyingly powerful spear. They would not try to match the carrier. They would create a submarine designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to be a dedicated ubitsa avianoscev, a carrier killer. The solution was one of the most ambitious and menacing submarine projects in history. It was Project 949 Granite, known to the West as the Oscar class. These were not attack submarines. They were submerged battle cruisers, the largest attack submarines ever built, second in size only to the colossal Typhoon-class boomers. Their entire design, their very reason for existing, was centered around a single devastating weapon system. Housed between their inner and outer hulls were 24 massive angled launch tubes. Each tube contained a P-700 Granite, known to NATO by the ominous name SSN-19 Shipwreck, supersonic anti-ship cruise missile. These were colossal weapons, each over 30 feet long, weighing 7 tons, and tipped with a massive 1,600-pound conventional or tactical nuclear warhead. They were intelligent, designed to be fired in a coordinated swarm. The missiles could communicate with each other in flight, with one leader flying high to designate targets for the others, which would scream towards the carrier group at over 2.5 times the speed of sound from multiple directions. The doctrine was simple and brutal. An Oscar-class submarine would get a targeting solution from a satellite or a long-range reconnaissance plane, close to within a few hundred miles of a U.S. carrier group, and then unleash the apocalypse, a full salvo of all 24 supersonic sea-skimming missiles, a wall of steel and high explosives designed to overwhelm the carrier's Aegis defenses through sheer, brutal, multi-vector mass. The Oscar class was a submerged titan, a silent hunter with the firepower of an entire bomber wing. The proof of this terrifying concept was in their deployment. The 11 submarines of the improved Oscar II class became the premier anti-carrier assets of the Northern and Pacific fleets. They were the apex predators, the wolves sent to hunt the biggest game in the ocean. Their presence fundamentally changed the tactical calculus of the Cold War at sea. The U.S. carrier commander could no longer operate with impunity. They always had to be aware of the silent, menacing shadow of the Oscar II that might be lurking in the deep, a ship capable of ending their world in a matter of minutes. These ships, with their incredible speed of over 32 knots, could keep pace with any carrier group. Their sheer size and power made them a constant deadly threat, and they fulfilled their mission perfectly. They acted as a powerful deterrent, a submerged gun held to the head of America's most valuable naval assets. But the most famous and most tragic proof of the Oscar II's story would come in August of 2000. The K-141 Kursk, one of the most advanced ships in the class, was lost with all hands in a catastrophic accident during an exercise in the Barents Sea. The tragedy, caused by the explosion of a faulty practice torpedo, was a profound national trauma for Russia. But the harrowing event also revealed to the world the immense scale and power of these sunken titans. The story of the Kursk became a global headline, a stark and somber reminder of the incredible, dangerous machines that prowled the depths. The design was so fundamentally sound that even today, the remaining Oscar II-class submarines are not being retired. They are being reborn. In a massive modernization program, ships like the Irkutsk and the Chelyabinsk are being refitted to carry up to 72 of Russia's most modern missiles, including the Kalibr land attack cruise missile, the Onyx anti-ship missile, and in the future, the unstoppable Zircon hypersonic missile. A 30-year-old Cold War hull is so good, it is the platform of choice for the cutting-edge weapons of the 21st century. The legacy of the Oscar class is the perfection of the submerged guided missile submarine SSGN concept. They were the ultimate asymmetric weapon, the Soviet Union's brilliant and terrifying answer to a problem they could not solve with conventional means. They were a testament to a naval philosophy that valued the single, devastating strike from a hidden platform over a prolonged battle between surface fleets. So profound was their influence that the United States Navy, after the Cold War, adopted the very same concept. They took 4 of their own Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines and converted them into SSGNs, replacing their nuclear missiles with over 150 Tomahawk cruise missiles. In a strange twist of fate, the Oscar's American counterparts became one of the most powerful and flexible assets in the U.S. Navy. The hunter had learned from the hunted. The Oscar-class submarines were the sunken titans of the Cold War, a testament to a unique and brutal naval philosophy. They were built for one of the most difficult missions in warfare, and for a generation, they succeeded in holding the undisputed masters of the sea at risk. Their story is a powerful lesson in the ever-evolving nature of naval power, a reminder that the greatest threats often come from the silent darkness of the deep. Share this video to explore the fascinating and terrifying